These are this afternoon's top stories. Foreign Affairs Minister Brantley outlines Federation's stance on renewable energy, fatal accident at Bahamas construction site in the Bahamas, and soul singer Percy Sledge dies. Good afternoon and welcome to ZIZ's Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, April 15th, 2015. I am J.D. Keynes. Nationally, climate change and renewable energy were among the topics addressed by Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Mark Brantley, when he addressed the recent Summit of the Americas in Panama. Minister Brantley said despite the nation's size, St. Kitts and Nevis is committed to becoming a green, sustainable economy.
St. Kitts and Nevis is acutely aware of the effects of climate change on our vulnerable economies, and even greater negative impacts that the poorest sectors have to bear. With this awareness, our small island nation has established very ambitious goals to become a green, sustainable economy. We understand that becoming more sustainable is not a choice, but a necessity for the livelihood of our people.
Minister Brantley, who was accompanied at the summit by Energy Minister the Honorable Ian Liburd, used the opportunity to share St. Kitts and Nevis' strides in promoting the use of renewable energy. Tourism Minister the Honorable Lindsay Grant toured the recently renovated and reopened Ocean Terrace Inn earlier today, Wednesday. ZIZ News was on hand to accompany the minister and will provide an update in a subsequent newscast. However, Minister Grant has on many occasions pledged his desire to improve the country's tourism landscape. To date, his administration has toured several tourist sites and met with stakeholders. As recent as this week, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, Public Works Minister the Honorable Ian Liburd, and Nevis's Premier the Honorable Vance Amory visited Koi Resort as a sign of the government's commitment to tourism and investment. Recently, during a press conference, the country's Prime Minister and Minister responsible for Finance, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, revealed shocking figures to the nation when he spoke of the impact of the People's Employment Program PEP on the country. Dr. Harris has maintained a clear stance that while he will not terminate employees of PEP, he believes the program should be restructured. He said it costs the country more than $100 million.
The country would perhaps be surprised to learn that PEP, which was introduced to assist with the political survival of the Douglas regime, cost the country so far almost $130 million. $130 million. And you ask yourself, and we know what it is in terms of production and productivity. We know, but that was just something introduced to take somebody through the election. But what did it cost us? $130 million to date. And what could we have done? Couldn't we structure something that was much more proper and much more sustainable and create much more benefit for the country than we know we are getting from that?
Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. Regionally, in the Bahamas, what began as an ordinary day at a construction site ended fatally for a worker on Tuesday at the Bahamas resort. It's the first fatality recorded at the luxury resort property since construction started last April. We have more in this report from ZNS Network News.
Construction was at a standstill on the Rosewood side of the Bahamas property after a construction worker was killed. When ZNS News arrived on the scene shortly after noon Tuesday, security officers, police, and several construction workers stood at the entrance of the property, looking in the direction of the construction site. Several marked and unmarked police cars were also visible. We understand that the incident unfolded near the car park where the unidentified male employee was said to be assisting with the crane. We're also told that a wire came loose and the crane fell, fatally hitting the victim. A cement truck was parked to block the view where the tragedy occurred. However, the crane could still be seen in the distance. Senior police officers escorted several employees off the site to take statements from them as an investigation is underway. One worker described the scene as something out of a movie. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean said the incident was reported just after 11:30.
We can tell you that we're in the early stage of our investigation, and our detectives are on the ground gathering information. We want to determine exactly what happened. So as more information unfolds, we'll be able to come out with a more detailed release as to what's happening. But
Vice President of External Affairs Robert Sandy Sands also spoke to us on the scene.
We wish to extend our sincere sympathy to the family of the bereaved, deceased. I can also confirm that this individual is a local individual working for a third-party subcontractor. And as I'd mentioned, we have no further details other than that at this point in time.
Sands said they have more than 5,000 workers on the site and more than half of them are Bahamian. He told us that 2 other employees who worked on the project have died.
We have had 2 instances in the past, one where a worker died of natural causes, and the second one where the individual sustained injuries and died weeks afterwards. But this is the first incident on the site.
Now, Bahama officials confirmed that no other workers were injured during the incident at the Rosewood site today. Police investigations continue. Chiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
The intriguing salvaging operation to resurface a long-serving Dodgers Bank tugboat at Port Castries ended on April 13th. Here's more.
Dodgers Bank, for reasons still unknown, sunk on October 28, 2014, with all but the mast of the tugboat sitting at the bottom of the Castries Harbor. St. Lucia Air and Seaport officials scrambled to ensure the integrity of the iconic Castries Harbor was maintained by dispatching emergency booms to contain oil stored on the vessel from further polluting the port. In close consultation with SLASPA, the owner of the Dodgers Bank entrusted a seasoned ocean salvage crew from the Netherlands on board the Walrus for the resurfacing effort. Port Castries is one of the busiest trade and commercial ports in the sub-region. The constant traffic caused turbulent conditions which caused lengthy delays. The Walrus crew also had to contend with extremely contaminated waters and extensive underwater welding to seal holes around the boat. Finally, on April 13, 2015, Dodgers Bank was completely resurfaced and, ironically, tugged away by the Walrus to what may be its final resting place, a location which eerily resembles the likes of a shipwrecked gravesite at La Toc. Rihani Isidore, HTS News Force.
Internationally, Percy Sledge, the soul singer who scored a worldwide hit with When a Man Loves a Woman, has died at the age of 73. Rollo Ross reports.
Always gave my heart.
Soul singer Percy Sledge, best known for his recording of When a Man Loves a Woman, died at his home in Louisiana, aged 73, after battling cancer. His agent said on Tuesday, April the 14th.
When a man loves a woman.
The song, recorded by Sledge in 1966, was his first single and is considered one of the greatest of all soul songs.
The UN Security Council has passed a resolution on Yemen imposing an arms embargo on the Houthi rebels and calling on them to withdraw from areas that have seized, including the capital, Sana'a. Al Jazeera's Jane Bays reports from New York City.
The UN Security Council sending a tough message to the Houthis. Before them, for a vote, a resolution calling on the group to withdraw from all the territory they've taken in recent months, including the capital, Sana'a. The resolution passed, but with one significant abstention by Russia. It had wanted an immediate ceasefire. Instead, there will be humanitarian pauses organised by the UN, but in conjunction with the government of President Hadi, which, like most Security Council members, including the US, supports the Saudi-led military operation.
The Houthis, working in close coordination with former President Ali Abdullah Saleh, have intensified their military campaign, bombed Aden, and extended their offensive to Yemen's south. These actions have caused widespread violence and instability that threaten the security and welfare of the Yemeni people, as well as the region's security.
The Council decided to extend sanctions and an arms embargo. They'll now cover the three most important Houthi leaders, as well as former President Ali Abdullah Saleh and his son Abdullah. But what if the Houthis don't comply? Could that lead the Saudi-led coalition to a ground operation?
The entire military operation today is the product of the non-compliance of the Houthis. So if they are not complying, they will continue to face more of the same.
The resolution says that humanitarian pauses should be organised by the UN Secretary-General in conjunction with the government of President Hadi. But Ban Ki-moon has said he wants immediate face-to-face talks. He says ultimately there's no military solution to the crisis in Yemen. James Bays, Al Jazeera of the United Nations.
And now we take a look at the weather. Today, temperatures will reach a high of 26 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are east-northeast at 12 to 16 miles per hour over land and reaching 18 miles per hour over open waters. Seas are moderate with waves with heights of 1.2 to 1.5 meters or 4 to 5 feet. In summary, today will be partly sunny in general with a slight chance of a few light to moderate showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a chance of light showers. The sun will set today at 6:27 p.m. and rise tomorrow at 5:55 a.m. The weather brings us to the end of ZIZ's Midday Newscast for today, Wednesday. Join us this evening for the detail to these stories and more in our major newscast. I have been your presenter, JD Keynes. Have a wonderful afternoon.